How's it going, everybody? Uh, Welcome to the Steve Wilson Show. uh, I basically axed this show, what was it, years ago, and now I decided to bring it back. Now, it's been a minute since I've made a video, believe it or not. I think it's been about a year. It's been about a year since I've been in front of a camera. Whether it's on my iPhone or iPad or whatever. So, believe it or not, I've kind of missed doing this. And yes, you're wondering, why am I dressed up? Well, I'm dressed up because I'm doing a video. Hope everyone's been well. I've been doing quite well myself. I'm back on the dating market. Yeah, believe it or not, I broke up with my girlfriend who I was in a long distance relationship with for almost 6 years. At the start of this year, we'd made plans to meet up in Dallas, spend the night together on New Year's Day. When that day came, she never turned up. I was basically in Dallas by myself. I didn't have any contact with her. She claimed to have a problem with her Snapchat. I think she was being full of shit. Of course, I think she was full of... I kind of realized, she was being full of shit in the duration of our relationship. Always made excuses. I did everything I could. I did everything I could to make it work with her, and I'm surprised it actually lasted as long as it did. I mean, we lasted. So I kind of had it on the high note from the time we kind of linked up or whatever. We just there was never going to be a meeting point. Okay, I kind of figured that. I was hopeful of it, and it never happened. And I kind of knew that wasn't going to happen. So I did everything I could to make her happy. She did everything she could to hurt me, essentially. So, I mean, how I did stuff for her, she couldn't do a damn thing for me. I'd gotten her birthday gifts. She didn't get me a damn birthday gift. Actually, probably the only time she really did get me a gift was I asked her to get me Star Trek. What was it? Discovery. It was one of the newer Star Trek shows. I asked her to give me one of the newer Star Trek shows for Christmas one time, which that's about the only time she ever did anything for me. I mean, any other time she couldn't do a damn thing for me, and I can't begin to tell you how disappointing it is. I mean, I did things for her quite often. And now of course, I don't expect anything really in return, but I think the same courtesy could have been extended on her part. And that would have been nice. Now, like I said, I didn't ask for it. Really, except the only time I really asked for it is when she offered to, or actually when she said she was gonna do something. Like for my birthday last year, she said she had something planned for me. Like she was gonna write me a note or something or mail it. And okay, so I was hoping she would. I could care less if she'd mailed something off to me. And in her city, the issue with the mail is whether you're sending something to her or she sends something back to you, it's going to wind up getting lost. And USPS, United States Postal Service, is actually responsible for the lost mail. or packages or whatever it is you're mailing off. But so I guess she had like a big ass letter or something she wanted to show me. Okay, I'm like, okay, why don't you just take pictures and send it to me through Snapchat? But no, she wanted to take the mailing option. So any excuse just for me not to see it. So, and not to mention, in fact, we had made plans to meet 3 times. It was more like her come to me, actually. The first time we made plans to meet, she actually told me in advance she couldn't do it because of a job obligation. I accepted that. So that kind of fell on the time that I had a week off from work. I went and stayed in Dallas for a couple of days, and just went and did my thing alone. Because anytime I go out anywhere and do anything, I'm always going by myself. I mean, I don't really go with any friends. I don't have to hang out with them. None of that. It's not that I don't want to. It's just, I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of afraid to, because only reason I don't really hang out with any friends is because I'm afraid I'm going to get let down. So that's why I just, when I go out anywhere, I go alone. So that was the first. So the next time we were going to meet up in Dallas was for my birthday. Now this didn't take place on my birthday. This took place, or was to take place, a couple days before my birthday. But I was informed that she was dealing with a stomach virus or being sick or whatever. So I guess it came about a day or two close to going to us spending the night together. I messaged her one night saying, "Hey, are you excited for our night together in a couple nights or whatever?" She's like, "Yes," but she didn't bother to tell me, "Hey, I'm still recovering from being sick. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it." You would think common sense tells you, if you know you're sick and you know you're not going to be there for someone, let them know that you're not going to be able to go with them or whatever. That way I know, and that I'm going to roll alone. I mean, I guess I kind of figured I was going to roll alone anyway. But when the day came, I'm at work. I reach out to her, and I do not hear from her that entire day. I don't hear from her, in fact, till the next day, en route back here to Greenville. It's kind of hard talking about this early. So, I'm in Dallas that night. I go see a movie. I don't remember what else I did. I don't remember if I went to a strip club. I think I did. I don't remember. Oh, it don't matter. Like, I know I went and saw a movie, went out to eat, treated myself. But hey, I did for me, okay? Even if I'm just by myself. So now I'm riding the train back to Rowlett. And then, she and I were basically butting heads over, or at least, actually, I don't hear from her until I get off at Rowlett. So I'm basically preparing like a set of paragraphs to say, hey, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why you can't be open with me about stuff. So we're just going to have to call it quits. Now, of course, I'm sorry, if she's still under the weather or whatever, but if you're not going to commute, but problem is, that was one of the big problems of our relationship was communication. Communication was the key issue that we just could not get settled. You know, I mean, she expects me to be upfront about things, but be open and honest and whatever. Yeah, but when she can't tell me something up front, that's a problem. So it's a kind of hypocritical on her part. So so she's hypocrite. I mean, you can't expect one person to communicate with you when you in fact can't communicate with that other person about whatever. That's not fair. It takes two people to make a relationship work. It takes two people to communicate back and forth. That's how you make that shit work. And when you can't communicate with the other, you got a problem. I mean, you not only make a problem for that one other person that's trying to make this work, but you're making a problem for yourself. And she did just that. She not only made a problem for me, but she made a problem for herself. Now, again, I sympathize that she was sick, but what I didn't take too kindly to was the fact that, let's go back to the day before, because when I was in Dallas and I took my scooter with me, I went to Love Field Airport, took a train, got off I don't remember what station that I got off which kind of leads me to Love Field. It don't matter. Anyway, I got off the train. I'm using my navigation to go to Love Field Airport, and I went there like a fool looking for her. Yeah, I went to Love Field Airport like a complete idiot looking for her. I even had to ask some of the workers if they had a flight come in from San Jose, California, or wherever she was catching a flight. But they didn't see her. So yeah, so that was a complete waste of time right there. Plus an idiotic effort on my part. But this is more like her fault because she didn't tell me the night before or the day of that she wasn't going to make it. So heading back home, I'm writing all these paragraphs saying, you know what, I can't do this anymore. We're gonna have to go our separate ways. So that I don't hear from her until I get back into Rowlett and I'm waiting on a ride home. So that's where we're kind of butting heads. And of course, she revealed that she was in a hospital and stuff like that, and she didn't have her phone or whatever. Like, who's not without their phone? That's one part of her story I don't buy is, how are you not without a phone? Like, how are you not without a phone? In fact, that's what I should have asked her, but I really did not want to intensify. So here I am. I'm regretting basically sending her those messages saying, you know, I can't do this anymore. I'm done with you. But then again, I was right to actually do it. Looking back on it, I was right to do it. But so I'm apologizing, say, hey, I'm sorry if I got upset with you. Do you forgive me? And she's like, yeah, I forgive you. So which was a clear indication. Well, it's not an indication. I basically told her, hey, I just want to pick up where we left off, move forward. So I'm not gonna lie, I regret doing that. There's a lot of stuff during our relationship I regret. In fact, I even regret getting with her. Now, we actually first met on Twitter before it became X. We basically interacted over a telenovela. Then we exchanged Snapchats, and that's just kind of how we kept our interactions going. Of course, like, during our relationship, any time I wanted to like talk to her, I mean, she couldn't really carry a conversation. I didn't care what she got going on in her life. I do, but I don't. But she just couldn't. I mean, we couldn't get as far as exchanging maybe 2 or 3 sets of sentences between one another. So you don't really have a conversation here. You're basically just exchanging hellos and how are yous, and that's the end of the chat. That's just the end of the chat. So this third time around that we made plans to hang out and spend the night together was for New Year's. And then this is when all the bullshit with her, this is all the bullshit with Snapchat started happening, or at least she claimed, which I did not buy. Well, actually, I guess I was a fool to kind of, I was a fool to buy into. So I was like, dude, okay, if you're having problems with your Snapchat, why don't you just give me your phone number so that we can have some sort of contact? Now, she already had my phone number. She had my phone number. But she wouldn't give me hers. So, I mean, how fair is that? How fair is that? It's not. It's not fair at all. Yeah, so I'm saying, you know, I'm telling her, hey, if you're still having an issue with Snapchat, let me have your phone number so I can have some sort of contact with you. And her only excuse was, I'll see what Snap says. So who cares what Snap says? I'm trying to keep our relationship going. And if that meant nothing to her, which clearly it didn't, then fuck off. Oh boy, did she fuck off. Then the last time I had talked to her was around Christmas. Of course, that was the last time she ever got something from me for Christmas, but I didn't get a Christmas gift from her. Believe it or not, yeah. The Christmas gift I got her like a picture framer, right? It's one of those picture frames you get, like, it's one of those custom made picture frames or whatever. Like you put I put a picture of her and then me or whatever. I regret doing that shit, so I hope she threw that away. No point in keeping that if we're not gonna make this work. So of course, next week it's New Year's Day. It's a Wednesday. So I go to of course the thing with Snapchat happens again. So I'm guessing, you know, she's just blocking me or whatever. And I wasn't gonna make any more Snapchats, so it's just, so I'm like, you know, if I'm gonna go to Dallas, I'm gonna go and enjoy myself. I'm not gonna dwell over her. If she's not gonna reach out to me saying, "Hey, I'm en route to you right now," and that happened again, believe it or not. But this time around, I did not make an attempt to go to the airport looking for her. I wasn't doing that again. I get in the room, I call my brother, I tell him what happened. He's basically telling me, oh, she's not worth my time and effort. I was like, yeah. But that was the end of that. So I'm basically I'm on the dating market again. Actually, there was this Hispanic woman that I started doing the Facebook dating thing. And believe it or not, I'm sure there's just some women on there that are not very good at they're not very good at either engaging in a conversation or they can't really carry one. So it's like, why get on there if you're not gonna engage with the person that you match with? And there's just some women out there, they only give you these one-worded answers and stuff like that. And so that kind of shows you how not so engaged in the chat that they are. So there's some here recently that I've talked to, and they just give you the one-worded answers. I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to try to make this conversation work. I mean, if you can't be as well engaged in the conversation as me, don't waste my time. But there's this Hispanic woman that lives in Garland, and she's actually a migrant from Honduras. She's been here in the United States for 8 years. been here since 2017. So yeah, so we match up. We kind of talk a little bit. Then we stopped talking for a little bit. Then we started talking again. Then we exchange profiles. We message each other on Messenger and stuff like that. I've had a few dates with her since then. But here in June, I wanted to hang out with her again, but I think she had something going on, so I was like, okay. Not to mention, she does work late nights and she has 3 kids to raise, so I think that makes it much harder for her to have some kind of a social life, in a way. But bearing in mind that because of her late night work schedules, her probably sleeping a portion of the day away, and then her having to deal with 3 kids, I just get the idea. I don't think she has the energy to date. So I mean, I come out saying, just let her know how I felt about the situation. I was like, I'd be okay if we'd still be friends, which she was okay with that. I'd imagine, she was heartbroken after I told her I just couldn't see her in that capacity anymore. But she's got to understand, she's got kids, which I don't have a problem dating somebody who has kids. But if they have to be a much bigger priority than your social life, then so be it. If you work late nights and you'd rather sleep during the day, hey, so be it. Then there's this other woman I met on one of the dating groups on Facebook. So I've been talking to her since. We were supposed to have had plans to. Yeah, we were supposed to go watch Superman in Allen, but she had to take her dad to my bank or whatever that town was to go have surgery super early in the morning. By the time I got into Plano, I stopped, had lunch. In fact, I was gonna have some lunch in downtown Dallas, but there was an issue with some of the trains. In fact, there was a train that was stuck in the tunnel at SMU Mockingbird, because there's a tunnel right there that leads into City Place, and apparently the one train had burned up or whatever, and I would imagine they probably got the train out now. I'm hoping they did. So I ended up getting on a red line train, and I was actually on the blue line that came from Rowlett. Anytime I go to the Dallas area, I'd take an Uber from here to Rowlett, catch a train from Rowlett into downtown Dallas, and I commonly get off at Ackerd Station. But I ended up getting off at the SMU Mockingbird station, thinking it was going to go the rest of the way into downtown Dallas, but no, the one I got onto ended up going to Plano. Or actually, its final destination was Parker Road Station, but I got off at Plano. So I got off at Plano, went and had some lunch, was going to eat at Denny's, but Denny's was closed due to a power issue, so I ended up having to go to In-N-Out Burger for lunch. And right as I'm eating, I get a text from this girl I've been talking to. She's stuck in traffic. And the movie and the Superman showing we were going to see was at 3:30. So I ended up having to refund the tickets. I ended up having to go. So I didn't see the point in going to Allen, because the only reason I was going to Allen was for her. But since she's stuck in traffic, there was no point in me going to Allen. So I decided I'm just gonna go to Dallas, or go back into Dallas. Well, Plano's part of Dallas anyway, but you get the point. So I ended up hopping back on the train at at downtown Plano Station or whatever. I get off at LBJ Freeman Station or whatever. I get a ride from there to the United Artists Theater, right by where I used to live as a kid, at Jupiter and McCree. So, of course, the Superman movie started at 4:10. Luckily, I made it there on time, actually. I got there, got me a drink, bought a T-shirt. The T-shirt was actually going to be for me, but I decided to give it to my mom. You know, she loves superheroes. How she can share that shirt with my dad. I don't know if my dad likes Superman or not, but I know he likes Spider-Man. But they can share that shirt. I don't care. But that's probably about the best 20. For the shirt was only like $20 at the theater, so I mean that's probably the best $20 I spent. Ticket was like what? I don't know. I don't remember. It was 16 something. I don't know. It don't matter. All that matters is I got to see the movie. So I ended up seeing the movie alone. Actually, before then, I was supposed to have had a date with this one girl that lived in McKinney. We had talked for a week. Um, I basically gave her my phone number through the Facebook dating thing because she claimed that she was hardly on the thing. So we were texting, talking back and forth for a week. She offered to come pick me up, which I accepted. So the Saturday I come home, like I don't even take a nap. I come home, unload my stuff, take a bath. Well, well, our water heater's been out for what, a year? It's been out for what, a year? So the way we go about taking a bath nowadays, and I really hate to admit this, but we would boil some water on the stovetop, dump it in a bucket, then fill it up with some cold water a little bit. That way it kind of cools the water down somewhat. So I'm taking a bath. I get dressed. I'm on the lookout for her about, I don't know. I'm on the lookout for her. What was it about 4:30ish? About 4:30ish, close to 5 or whatever. And the movie didn't start till 7. But last time I heard from her, she mentioned she was on her way. So there I am. I'm on the lookout for her. It was, I don't know, probably about, I guess it was 4:30ish or whatever. And so I'm sitting there watching out for her for about an hour and a half, or about close to an hour and a half, and it's edging closer to about, I don't know, it's edging closer to about 6, and she still hadn't turned up. So I message her at some point. I'm asking, hey, where are you at? How far out are you? I didn't hear from her. I never heard back from her. And you know how on the iPhone it tells you that the message is what delivered or whatever? I didn't get that. So so kind of became clear to me that she blocked my number. So what? That week's long chit chat was for what? Nothing. You know, I threw the invitation out. That was for like what? Nothing. Yeah, all that shit, all that so all that talking we did for a week, bullshit. I spent what, 20 something bucks for 2 tickets just for us not to go see a movie. That's bullshit. I mean, if she didn't want to go, all she had to say, "Hey, Steve, I appreciate you extending an invitation out to me, but I'm gonna have to reject." So yeah, our plans of like have a first date, go out together, out the window. That hurt me too. As hurt as I was, so I come back to the room. It's like 6 something. I'm trying to decide, do I want to go out to shenanigans and have a few drinks or whatever, or what? Which I eventually decide on doing alone. I mean, because I was already bathed and I was dressed, so I was like, dude, I might as well go out and make the most of my time. And that's what I did. Went out, went to shenanigans. I turned up, sat at the bar for a little while. I was just, I was just hurt. I even had a bouquet of fucking roses with me too. So, in fact, I was gonna give those to her. So I decided, I'll take them with me. I might make somebody's night, which I did. So it's either I give them away to someone, or maybe a few women or whatever, or just flat out fucking trash them. No, but it was a good thing I gave them away as opposed to trashing them. But to this day, I haven't never heard back from her or anything like that. So I mean, that's her loss. I feel like it's my loss too, but it's not my. That's her loss. But then now jumping back to this other one that I'm currently talking to, just she got stuck in traffic, so I just didn't see the point in going to Allen. But I mean, but I'm not mad. I'm not mad at her. At least she was up front and saying, "Hey, I'm stuck in traffic. I don't know if I'm gonna make it." So I mean, I accept it for what it was, and but I was determined to go see Superman, whether I'm gonna go with somebody or I'm gonna go alone. And I went alone. Yeah, I wasn't gonna let a date or a lack of a date deter me from watching Superman. But I did enjoy the movie though. It was a really great movie. Do I think David Corn Sweat is a great Superman? He's good. He's got some big shoes to fill, really, but I like to see how long he continues to play the role before I decide whether or not he is the better Superman than any of the others. But Christopher Reeve, for me, was by far the best. Christopher Reeve will forever be the best, even if I'm impressed by David Corn Sweat. I mean, I really enjoyed Henry Cavill, too. And in fact, I was looking forward to there being a Man of Steel sequel with Henry Cavill having another standalone movie. But we didn't get that. Warner Brothers destroyed the Snyderverse as we knew it. Ben Affleck didn't get to have a standalone Batman movie. The standalone Batman movie he was to have, that became Robert Pattinson's. But I mean, that movie was good too. It was more of a suspense thriller, though, which drew more onto Batman's detective skills. But it was still a good movie nonetheless. Do I care for Robert Pattinson as Batman? No. I'll be honest with you. I don't particularly care for his Batman. He was good, but he's not right there with Michael Keaton and Christian Bale. I'll tell you that much. The Batmans I grew up with Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney. Hell, Adam West came before me, but I sort of grew up with him too. I remember the 1966 Batman movie. Watch that. I was still, in my teen years, I was still in school when at least 2 out of 3 of Christian Bale's Batman movies hit the big screen. I was still 14 when Batman Begins came out. I was still 17 when The Dark Knight came out. I already reached adulthood when The Dark Knight Rises hit the big screen. I still remember going to see that one over a week after that came out. Everybody, y'all know I'm a wrestling fan, right? I'm a big WWE fan. And I spent a lot of time, watching it on Peacock. Well, they had all the older episodes of Raw, but then they took them off and they put some on Netflix, but not every single past episode. Because Netflix is now that's where the much newer episodes of WWE's flagship program, Monday Night Raw, stream every Monday night. In fact, today is Monday, and it streams tonight at 7 o'clock if you live right here in the state of Texas, or Central Time, anyway. So the last couple of nights, you had SummerSlam. Now, SummerSlam used to be just a one-night event, so it's kind of becoming like WrestleMania, really. Now, WrestleMania used to be a one-night event. Now, since 2020, it's been a two-night event. Well, now they're doing that with SummerSlam. They're doing that with SummerSlam. I mean, hey, what's next? Are they going to do that with the Royal Rumble? They're going to do that with Survivor Series? I mean, what? But anyway, let's talk about the. I'm going to be honest. I did not expect Tiffany Stratton to retain her title against Jade Cargill. In fact, I was under the impression Jade Cargill was going to dethrone her, but that didn't happen. Let's see. Let's talk about the CM Punk match. Now, let's go back to the Goldberg retirement match at Saturday Night's Main Event. I was really disappointed by it. I wanted him to take that title off Gunter. But the way they scripted that was just terrible. Goldberg's speech right after that, they cut that shit off. Probably not even midway through the speech. You're probably about a minute or two into the speech, and they cut it off right there. But they have the full speech on YouTube, on WWE's YouTube channel. So check it out if you haven't done so already. Now we fast forward to CM Punk versus Gunter for the World Heavyweight title. That was a good match, believe it or not. Good match. Some of it I couldn't really pay attention to because I was busy washing dishes. But I mean, hell. What's his name? Gunter tried to, choke him out the way he did Goldberg. He does every other of his opponents and stuff like that. That ended up reversing into a GTS. I mean, he powerbombed Punk about a few times during the match. Well, Punk should have given him the Anaconda Vice. Make him tap out to that shit. Really. He should have made him tap out to that shit. But, No, but that little chokehold got turned into a freaking GTS for the giving CM Punk the 1, 2, 3 the win. Well, let's talk about what happened after. Yeah, you're welcome. You got my payment discovered. Anyway. I'm not sorry about that, by the way. The thing that happened next after the match, after Punk won the title, Seth Rollins comes out with fucking Paul Heyman, right? Okay. He's injured, or we were led to believe he was injured. And it looked like, and whatever event it was, I think it was in Saudi Arabia or some, I don't know, here. Oh my goodness. Is it Backlash? I don't know. Or was it Sarah Ann's maybe? I don't know. No, it wasn't Sarah Ann's main event. No, I don't think it was No, it wasn't Worlds Collide. Or was it? No, it was actually Night of Champion. I think it was Night of Champion. Good. No, it wasn't Night of Champions either, but no, it might have been his match with LA Knight at Saturday Night's Main Event. Came down, hurt his knee really bad. That looked legitimate, by the way. So it was believed he was going to be out 4 to 5 months, maybe a year if not. And then you only have 1 calendar year to cash in that money in the bank. So it turned out that dude had us fooled. He was not hurt. He just dropped the crutches, took the brace off, walked down to the ring normally, beat the shit out of Punk with that briefcase, then cashed it in, gave him the stomp. 1, 2, 3. Bam. Title goes back on him. CM Punk's reign lasted no more than 5 fucking minutes. So I was really disappointed by that. because I was really wanting it. I was wanting to see CM Punk at least have somewhat of a lengthy title run. I mean, it's not going to be nothing compared to what Roman Reigns had, but at least a title reign that lasted what? A couple months, maybe 2 or 3 months. I mean, who knows? But look, CM Punk's 46 years old, almost 47. He's about nearing the end of his career. So I'm sure he'll probably get at least another title run. And then, a friend of mine, Brandon, and I, we were talking, and he thinks it could very well, that Rollins and Punk could have a WrestleMania match for the title, and Punk win it there. I could see that happening. I could really see that happening. It just depends on how they script everything and stuff like that. But I have the oddest feeling that this rivalry is definitely gonna go to distance here. So that was like I said, the CM Punk versus Gunther, great match. Night 2, Wyatt Six wins the tag titles. Congrats. I think it was time to take the belts off the Street Profits anyway. I like the Street Profits, but I think it was time to see a new set of champions. You notice how Raquel and Roxanne lost their women's tag team titles Saturday night? I told Brendan, hey, they're Steve's Spicy Angels. So, and that I was pulling from the win. And then, so, no, they didn't win. So they lost their titles. So that meant Dominic was the only one that retained his title. I was really wanting AJ to win. I really wanted AJ to win so that way Judgment Day could be screwed up the ass, if you know what I'm saying. But that didn't happen that way. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. Now, it kind of looked like Cody Rhodes was going to really turn heel right there. And it looked like the fans were booing him too. Probably maybe about 10, 15 minutes towards the end of the match or whatever. But that was one hell of a street fight. It was obvious. It was kind of obvious to me. John Cena was probably going to lose the title. He had a good run. I mean, it was his last ever championship reign. So I'm glad he had the opportunity to break the title reign, break the tie between himself and Ric Flair. Woo! But and what happens after the match? And I didn't expect this, by the way. Brock Lesnar turns up. Now, of course, Brock Lesnar hadn't been seen in a WWE ring since 2023, in like 2 years, right? Not to mention, he was also named in a lawsuit that was in a sexual assault lawsuit or whatever that this one lady filed against Vince McMahon. So with him being named in that lawsuit, it kind of seemed like he wasn't going to come back to WWE. But he came back. And I had the oddest feeling something was going to happen. Part of me thought was, okay, he's going to get in that ring and he's going to F5 the fuck out of John Cena. But then there was a part of me that thought, he's just going to stop, shake his hand, and go on his merry little way. But then again, don't trust Brock Lesnar. So I had the oddest feeling that there's going to be a match set up between Cena and Lesnar for maybe the next, possibly Clash in Paris. Clash in Paris. So I'm looking forward to that one. You've already got one match set up. You got Naomi versus Stephanie Vaquer. In fact, I was really wanting Rhea Ripley to win that triple threat match for the Women's World Championship. So that way we can get Rhea Ripley versus Stephanie Vaquer. That's a match I want to see. Yeah, I don't really see Naomi being the worthy opponent to Stephanie Vaquer. I really don't. But Naomi's champion. She walked out with the title, so now the match is set. End of story. End of story. Okay, so you know who's ever the president of the United States are going to be in the news like constantly. That's the case with Donald Trump. God knows I hate seeing those reports where he's like the main topic, right? Can this guy just get out of the fucking news? I mean, he's basically dominated news headlines since the time he first announced his candidacy for the presidency about a decade ago. Well, recently, he fired the head of the Bureau of Labor and Statistics when she presented him with job numbers, right? Actual job numbers. I don't even know what the job numbers are. But Trump has falsely claimed, without evidence, that the numbers were manipulated and rigged. So, Donald, can't you take facts? No wonder why he wanted to abolish the damn Department of Education. He wants to make America stupid again. Look who we have in the White House. We got a near 80-year-old man who's about, with essentially not a brain in his head. She presents him with what? Real job numbers. He claimed they were fake, and he just straight up fires her. Of course, I wasn't there, so I wouldn't know. I'm just speculating what really happened. Dude, when somebody presents him with like actual facts, he just lashes out, has a childlike temper tantrum, saying, "Oh, that's fake. That's fake. I got the real numbers right here." What you got, homeboy? What you got? I would imagine whatever it is he holds up, it probably ain't shit compared to what's being thrown right into his face. But I mean, that's Donald Trump for you. I mean, he doesn't really care much about facts. He cares about false narratives and shit that he thinks are facts, but they're really not. No wonder why America is the laughing stock of the world right now. Because we have a fucking imbecile sitting in the White House. Wasn't there 80 million of us that fired him in 2020? Donald, we fired your ass in 2020. And then there's over 70 million people that rehired you in 2024. I'm glad I wasn't among the 70 million that voted for you. I'd rather bite the tip end of a bullet than give you my vote. Oh. So we're stuck with him for maybe at least the next few years or whatever. But hey, unless the 25th Amendment comes into play and he's actually removed. And his vice president, J.D. Vance, who I think can pack his shit and take his wife and kids and go move to India, he's the likely successor to him. In fact, if anything happens to Trump, he's actually the first one to ascend to the presidency. I mean, that's how the line of a succession to the presidency works anyway. But it is what it is. Well, that's going to be it for today, guys. Appreciate you listening to my ranting and my raving. Storytelling, ranting, raving, whatever you want to call it. Well, that's it for the Steve Wilson Show. Until next time. See you later.